Hey up. I went into this one thinking that I wasn't really going to have that much to say, but holy shit was I wrong. Death Screams, otherwise known as House of Death or Night Scream, is a 1982 American slasher film directed by David Nilsson, who hasn't really done much else of note outside of maybe his bit part in John Waters' film Cry Baby. So Vipco managed to take this pretty dull slasher film and turn it into something worth talking about, but not for the right reasons.
He sure runs like a bat out of hell.
Ah, that's all right. I'm a little bit partial to this meringue anyway.
So the plot for this, really boiled down, is that there's a murderer on the loose in a small suburban American town. We follow a group of teenagers and a football coach as they have fun at a fair, then go and have a party by the lake. Slowly, they get picked off one by the killer. There are a lot of side characters that just seem to have very little purpose to the main plot, such as the elderly women. They've got a lot of character, but they're completely pointless. And the disabled kid, no use in him at all. And the aggressive sheriff, complete waste of time. It's a very bare bones plot, with what I'm sure the filmmaker will say are a bunch of MacGuffins just sort of shoved onto the side. Now, there's a part of me though in the back of my mind that's thinking that these elements might actually work, but there's a much greater issue at play here as to why maybe they didn't sit so well with me.
It said, maniacs lick hands too.
You're making an ass of yourself.
Well, I've got enough to spare.
Okay, I can't keep beating around the bush on this. I need to address the main issue with this film. Vipco's release of this film, has scenes that play out of order. Now, I'm not talking a minute or two here and there. I'm talking large chunks of this film are played in the complete wrong order. And no, it's not a stylistic choice. No, this isn't a Memento style film. Vipco got the reels in the complete wrong order and thought, yeah, that's fine. Let me run through what happened and what I was thinking. I'll try and explain it as best I can. So the film starts with what you'd expect, a pre-credits death sequence. You get your credits, you meet your characters, there's like fairground frolicking for about 20 minutes. They talk about meeting up at the lake, then hard cut, we're at the lake. All ready. Now, I just thought at this point, okay, so it's sort of speeding along a little bit. Maybe there's going to be plenty of gore and effects and fun bits at the end. And then people start dying. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, it's really ramping up. Then the next thing you know, we're hard cutting to the disabled boy and his mother discussing stuff. And it's acting as though he could be the killer. But I'm there thinking, but people are already getting killed down by the lake. This guy's not the killer because he's at home in his bedroom and people are already dying. Main characters are dying off. Then it gets really weird. We cut to the kids and they're sort of meeting up and hanging out. Now, at first, I was questioning whether this wasn't in the right order at this point, but I didn't believe it. I couldn't believe that was what was happening. And I was thinking, I've just seen these people's friends die and now they're all acting like nothing's happened. What happened to these people who are dying? Are these characters really that awful that they don't give a shit that the mate's just being killed? Then it really hit home when one of the main kids who'd been killed was alive, well, and swinging on a rope swinging to the lake. Now we're back at the lake, pre-killings, hard cut back, now everyone's already half dead, and it's the end of the film. It completely kills any potential pacing that this film could have had, any MacGuffin that it was setting up, completely dead, because you kind of see who the killer is in a way, and then it's like, ooh, is it this person? Like, no, of course it's not that person. Now, I've seen a lot of films. I have a lot of DVDs here. Not one of these films shows the film in the completely incorrect order. This, losing my voice, I'm that riled up about it. This is the only example of a film that I have that plays in the complete wrong order, that gets the reels completely mixed up. Even The Dead of Night managed to show its shitty films in order. Absolutely appalling. Awful. Bad film. Bad Vipco.
Yeah, the cemetery.
Hey, you know, make love on the tombstones. Feel the coolness of the rocks against your bare skin. Blah.
Outside of all that though, the acting is not really noteworthy at all, apart from maybe a few of the supporting characters who've got the odd funny line here and there. Also, the main characters are just really annoying. The gore and effects are pretty much non-existent because on top of everything else, this film is heavily cut. So it's a case of something gory is about to happen and we cut away just before it happens. I also guess the killer pretty early on, so it's just kind of boring, really. But let's try and think of some positives. There's got to be some positives in this film, surely. I quite liked the small town America vibes that it gives off. It kind of reminded me of like a very low budget Twin Peaks or Blue Velvet, and I've got a real soft spot for that. Really nice aesthetic. Also, the music is just insanely over the top. Very obnoxious and out of place, and it made me laugh quite a few times. And I think that's about it for positives. So how's the print then, outside of being in the wrong order, of course? Well, it's awful. It is absolutely terrible. It's flickery. The blacks are crushed so badly that in the dark shots you can't tell what the hell's happening. And a lot of this film is shot in the dark as well. And there's also this really weird thing. Sort of like this sort of much at the top of the screen. It feels like the film curves slightly and it gets sort of darker. It's almost like a dark gradient going at the top. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to make that out in the footage that I'll be showing you. But check it out, see if you can see it. It was really distracting while I was watching the film. Oh yeah, and it's in the wrong order. There's that as well. And on the disc, same old stuff. Same old stuff as usual. They get the Claw trailer, that one's back, and for once, everything on the menus are spelt right. So that's good. And time for the case. It's fine. It reads badly, but it's right in what it's saying, and all the info is correct. Overall then, maybe this film has more going for it than this DVD presents. But judging by what I've seen, just basing it solely off of what I watched, I cannot recommend the film or the release. But I feel so bad for this film though. It really got shafted. It's mixed up, it's heavily cut, and it has a shite print, just killing any enjoyment you can get out of this. Now, at the time of recording this, Arrow have got a Blu-ray up for pre-order, and it will be out by the time this review's out. And you know what? I'll give it another go. I feel so bad for it that I will happily give it another go with a proper Blu-ray release. I trust Arrow. They do some really good releases. I'm sure it'll be a nice print. I'm sure it'll be in the right order as well. And you never know, maybe there is a subpar mediocre slasher film hidden within this piece of shit. If you're interested in watching this film, don't get the Vipco release. Why would you get the Vipco release? Get the Arrow one when that's out. Well, the worst the worst Vipco release we've seen so far this week. You can tell we're close to the end, can't you? We have 3 films left. 3 films left. And you can really tell that they just don't give a shit anymore, can you? Let's hope they at least put a bit of effort in on this next one. I really hope they did. I've never heard of it before. We're going to be checking out God Told Me To.